Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 52 of the 9 Down Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. In today's episode, Luke Littler completes one of the greatest Premier League comebacks we've ever seen. Luke Humphries continues to prove his quality with a win on the European Tour. And as Josh Tahini joins me, we'll also be seeing some very familiar names, such as Beau Greaves and Mitch Laurie, who are back in the news as well as usual. How are you, Josh?
Good. Happy Thursday, 12:36 time of recording. Life's been good, and it's a good week of darts.
It's been a good week of darts. We really should be making sure we time code all of these episodes in case people are catching us back. European Darts Trophy it was not. It was the Belgian Darts Open that we had over the weekend, and the Premier League night in Dublin as well. Dublin always great. Unfortunately, one less game, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed. And the first thought is it's better when we have the full lot of games.
We do.
Even though there was still plenty of quality and plenty of talking points out of the Dublin Premier League night, when we have everybody there, that's probably slightly better. And I do think, by all accounts, we're going to have Gian van Veen back in Berlin, which is good to see.
We'll talk about that later for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that crazy moment was that Premier League final. This is the photo on the thumbnail, and was just so amusing. This is Luke Littler after taking his first leg in the final of the Premier League. And I tell you what, Josh, I was so happy because at this particular point, I was feeling pretty good because if you listen to last week's episode, I had Gerwyn Price to win.
You did.
He was great in his quarterfinal. He was amazing in his semi-final. And in the final, it just looked one-way traffic. And I just thought, look at me, just getting all of these rights. Luke Littler can win a leg or two. I wasn't actually expecting a 6-0 railroading. So him getting a leg in the end wasn't too bad. But I thought I was going to be sitting down with you and going, well, look, Gerwyn Price, he's made for this format. Only the one or two legs lost throughout the entire night. This has been absolutely fantastic night from the Iceman. But once again, his struggles against Luke Littler just getting the job done. It wasn't like this. Like 12 months ago, he was the only one who could beat Littler. But now there seems to be this pattern emerging. Quarterfinal at the World Grand Prix, semi-final at the World Masters, this nightly final in Dublin.
It's a weird trend.
He gets out in front. He gets match darts as well, several of them.
He had plenty of match darts.
Well, in the Masters, I think it was only the one. But Grand Prix in this match, plenty of match darts. And they just don't go. And he's playing beautifully, doubling beautifully all the way through. And it's the back end. And the bizarre thing about this match...
I've got something else to share.
We'll get back to the same. But the bizarre thing about this match was there was no one point where Luke Littler was like... where it just kind of the switch automatically fixed.
It didn't just click.
It just slowly happened that he slowly got back in the match, which was what was so crazy about that nightly final in Dublin.
5-1, he sort of just took the mickey a little bit. He was just sort of chucking random darts, and all of a sudden he just somehow got back into the game. 5-2.
Yeah, he hit a 180 to leave 10.
I know.
That's how much unserious it was because he thought he literally did a wave. He thought he was signing off for the night with a 180. So, yeah, that is 2 points and several legs based on the leg difference that who knows at the back end. It may very well, it may mean absolutely nothing in terms of how the standings ended up. This match could flip either way and everyone stays the same. But, if Gerwyn Price narrowly misses out on finals night, this will be the match.
It might haunt him, I was just going to say.
It might haunt him if he's 1 point outside and this was the match, or he's, he needed to win that. He misses out by 1 on leg difference.
Oh, my God.
It'll be... this will be the match that will be remembered for. That we don't know how that's going to turn out, but we will know if this match had proper implications in about 8 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, I can't believe we're both watching. Oh, this is a bit of a boring final, and then I don't know how the hell that happened, but crazy stuff. That's what the Premier League can bring, especially over first to 6 leg format. It only takes a few legs to get back in it, and sure enough. But this was even crazy. Richie Howson, the owl, bit of a modus action here. He brought a cheese sandwich on stage and had it in between the game. So
he was clearly hungry.
Are people even allowed to do that these days?
Well, you're not allowed, obviously. Back in the
Ask on Binks.
We should tag him.
I will tag him.
I imagine that this is all cleared and ready to go. Obviously, in the classic days of the 80s, the Eric Bristows and the Jockey Wilsons were having a pint and occasionally smoking on stage, and they got rid of that because it wasn't a great look, and it kind of caused the split in darts, that wrecking of image. But
so funny.
But clearly it's not all allowed because you're allowed to take obviously some water, you're allowed to drink some water, and clearly you're allowed to have some solid foods on there. And we need someone bring. What if someone's like called up really late to a game and they haven't eaten anything, and they order pizza and they bring it onto the stage with them? And imagine it's like a long format game, so there's a couple of breaks in between, and they're down 4-1 and they've had a shocking start, and they're just eating
the back room
some margarita pizza on stage as they're trying to cool down between sessions.
Oh God.
The possibilities are endless.
That's darts for you.
That's darts. So many weird things happen. We'll get back to the Premier League. We'll start with the Euro Tour. We're sort of bouncing around all over the place here. But Luke Humphries winning the Belgian Darts Open. He was due to win a tournament. He was playing so well and not particularly winning matches. But another strong weekend. And the performance of the weekend was clearly that semi-final against Michael van Gerwen, who looked like he was getting things back on track. And then, bang! 105 average, 7-2, very dominant display.
Hit him like a train.
From Luke Humphries. And then much like the final, of someone ran out to a big lead, and then Johnny Clayton sort of was making the comeback. It didn't land. 8-6 win for Johnny Clayton. I think this is an important win for Luke Humphries. Charlie Murphy once again was in the news because he made some comments after the Premier League night that he perhaps didn't have the aura or the confidence anymore, but he's gone out and smashed that out, sort of thing. Now we didn't have to beat Littler on the way through, and we'll talk about that later. But I think this is important for Luke Humphries, just to remind everyone that I'm the one number 2. I'm still pretty good, and I can still beat these top guys. All of these players are top quality. Van Dyvenbode, Watermain, Adobe, Van Gerwen, Clayton. The last 3 have been in the Premier League on multiple occasions now. So this is, and a couple of them have won it, of course. So I think this was an important weekend to re-establish Luke Humphries as a reminder to anyone, in case anybody had forgotten, that he is still very much in the top echelon, because he's in finals night positions now, but he's also had a stop and start beginning to this Premier League, first half of Premier League as well. Yeah,
exactly right. He was very good all weekend. There's the average in there. Anything in excess of 95, very good.
And 3 ton toppers as well, in terms of averages.
Didn't drop many legs, that's for sure. Oh, he had 5, 7, actually... Well, it was more in that sort of first couple games. The 6-1 victory was very, very good, and the 7-2 especially.
Yeah, the Michael van Gerwen performance, the match against Michael van Gerwen, was the performance of another successful staging of the Belgian Darts Open. Absolutely. But going back to Littler, he somehow won the second night in Dublin. Plenty of talking points here, Josh. Gian van Veen is still the elephant in the room that we'll get to a little bit later. But Luke Littler beat Stephen Bunting 6-3. Bunting did very little wrong in that match, but Littler was just a little bit better. And then the Michael van Gerwen match was an absolutely extraordinary match. That should have been that could have been another one for the crazy moments. Just the entire match all the way through. Michael van Gerwen bust 136 and still won a leg. We had 2 16 and won big the leg. Fishes, 2 170s, and we should have put that in. We should have played that vision. And then we had Michael. I think he missed a few darts in there for the match. And Littler just found a way once again to sort of to make sure he got over the line and get that extra point. And then we already mentioned the final earlier. Meantime, Gerwyn Price 6-0, 6-1, just very dominant displays. The semi-final win, he looked really good, and really could have easily won that match, maybe 6-1 or 6-2, but he did it, and Luke Littler getting a 6-5 win. So all round, despite the fact that we were down a match, there was still plenty of talking points because every game had something a little bit interesting to it. Because Johnny Clayton, the table topper, didn't win as well.
First quarterfinal loss,
yeah. So and first loss in the quarterfinal stage. It only took them 7 nights to finally knock him off.
Shows how good he is in the Premier League.
I think Bunting was the closest. He won 4 in a row, and then Clayton reverse track with a 6-4 win in night 2. But despite the fact we were down a match, everything had sort of interesting. What were your big takeaways from the night? Yeah,
well, look, every game had such high averages. It was such good quality, especially Price. Even though he lost, he was that one who was like just there. I still can't believe he missed in that final hurdle. It was one leg, all those missed darts at tops. It was just ludicrous. But across the board, MVG was good as well. Bunting, you have to say you're pretty impressed by Bunting. He didn't play bad.
He didn't play badly. He maybe missed only a couple darts here or there, which cost you against Luke Littler when perhaps otherwise he struggled on the European tour, losing to. The guy, I think he beat it was Andy Bartons, another Lakeside World Champion. So he lost.
It was pretty good over the weekend.
Andy Bartons had a pretty good weekend, which was good to see on the European tour. But Bunting played well enough. It just wasn't good enough against Luke Littler. Gerwyn Price dominant all the way through. Luke Humphries having a couple of good performances there, even though he only picked up the one leg there. So there's just so many different angles, and this is what it looks like now after night 7. I remember, Josh, how I said a few weeks ago that the table was looking about right. Now I'm less sure because Van Gerwen's still sitting 5th, and I'm not sure that deserves to be his position. I feel like Van Veen's might have played better than 6th, but he also hasn't kicked on the last few weeks. I don't feel like Bunting's been that far away.
No, he hasn't.
Rock in the bottom is probably fair, but Johnny, Luke, and Gerwyn probably might just about be. It's probably that middle section there where I'm looking at going, is it necessarily in the right order? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Right now, it's still, well, we've got a few more plays in the positive leg difference there with Gerwyn Price and Luke Littler joining Clayton. And still Bunting still there with a positive one leg difference overall.
Still hanging on.
So he's still hanging on in that regard. Yeah, that's the way things are shaping up. Could this feels like the 4 we might get at the end of it. It feels like it's going to be hard for anyone to knock those 4 out, knowing their quality.
Yeah,
Johnny,
pretty
Luke,
close.
Gerwyn, and Luke. So 2 Englishmen named Luke and 2 Welshmen, quite possibly.
That's true. The 2 World Cup partners, funnily enough.
Yes, the all World Cup pairing that we'll see later in the year.
That was a great game. MVG, Van Veen. Well, we'll talk about Van Veen, but that game of the withdrawal, that could hurt him in the end.
I think that really does now.
Same for MVG as well.
I think that's the big problem for them now, is that they gave away a couple of points to guys. Michael got his points straight back because Van Veen handed it to him, but Van Gerwen gave points to Littler, and that's just handing points to guys who are already ahead of them, or would ordinarily be already ahead of them, just getting them further in front. Now, if you can't play, you can't play, and you're expecting a 6-0 win, 6-0 loss anyway, that's perhaps no different. But it was just it was an interesting night, and now this table is really interesting because we get the reverse matchups this week. So we're seeing a lot of repeat matchups. In the next few weeks, these quarterfinals are going to feel very repetitive because they are. They're just going to flip the second half of the second half is just going to be the first half in reverse. So we're going to see Johnny Clayton, Josh Rock again. We're going to see Luke Littler and Stephen Bunting in a couple of weeks after this week, after we see them back-to-back weeks. There's going to be a lot of repetitive matchups coming up in the next few weeks in that Premier League quarterfinal. But that's an interesting. That's what's takeoff. But but just going back to this, there's just so many. Every match had a little bit of something. Bunch played well, but didn't win. Rock was another disaster.
Outlier.
Luke Humphreys looked good, and then was pummeled. The Luke Littler, Michael Van going over. Just everything was happening there. And then Luke Littler coming for 5-0 down. So it really was an extraordinary night. Dublin's one of the great venues.
It was
the
so
3
good.
Arena is with the way that the seating arrangement there, it looks fantastic. And so another strong Premier League night. Luke Littler getting a second nightly title. We're still waiting for Humphreys, Van Veen and Rock to pick up a nightly title. Rock trying to pick up a win still.
It'll happen soon. Well, for Rock, I know. But sorry, if you just go back one slide, it's not far from Bunting to that top 4. I mean,
no, it's still not.
I'll say if he wins,
it was closer a few weeks ago.
That's 4 points. He gets up to 11. That's in that
Bunting
11,
is
10
still.
section.
I said last week the Rock isn't making finals tonight. I don't think I still don't think that, but
I believe.
But Bunting, he's still sort of in that position. I think off the back end in the second half of the Premier League, he's probably going to have to win maybe a couple more nights and make a couple more finals at least. He can still only go about maybe slightly better than a 50% win rate in those quarterfinals as long as he kicks on and wins another game or 2.
And also has a healthy leg difference.
That is helping, and that 6-0 win against
victories.
Johnny as part of his night 4 triumph really does help him.
That did help him.
Because if he gets back into the mixed, he's got that advantage, and of course he needs to win more matches, which them themselves are always a positive leg difference.
-4, -2, -8. You got Littler +2. Yeah, so that will be the difference.
If he can get back into the hunt, he will have that opportunity with. Well, the first tiebreaker is ordinarily is Knights 1, which he has won already.
Yes.
But beyond that, the leg difference can certainly help him if things get really compact there in the middle. But he is going to have to. He plays Luke Littler, I think, this week, maybe in a couple weeks' time. I feel like he's probably going to have to win one of those matches to really make sure he doesn't get too detached from the cut-off line.
He plays him again.
Yeah, night 10. So night 8 and night 10. I feel like he's going to have to win one of those matches. What day is night 10 listed there in the UK? That's the...
What date?
Yeah,
9th of April.
9th of April. I believe I'm pretty sure that's his birthday. So we might predict a Bunting
birthday.
That?
Of course you know
that. I was recently double checking that, and I'm pretty sure 9th of April is Stephen's birthday. So maybe where's that? That's not Liverpool, is it?
Brighton.
It's Brighton.
So we're in Manchester next week, then Brighton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Liverpool's night 12.
Liverpool's night 12. That's his home night. So who does he play there, by the way?
Night 12.
Bunting.
He plays Johnny Clayton.
Oh, okay. Oh well, you never know.
Don't know.
You never know. He's beaten him before. So that might more or less wrap up our Premier League conversation. We'll come back to it with Van Veen. But Neil Zondervan was the positive surprise the couple of weeks that he's had. And he's a very no-nonsense player. He just goes up to the ball, and we never hear anything from Neil Zondervan.
No.
He's in good position to play the match play because I would love to see him at the World Match Play. I think he would be very suited to the sort of long format in the earlier rounds. Perhaps he can give one of the seeds in, perhaps give a seed in danger a really big scare. And he knocked off the best player in the world, a 6-5 win over Luke Littler. Both played really well, but Zonneveld held his nerve, and this was the first time that Littler has lost in the Belgian Darts Open, back-to-back champion in the previous couple of years. Yeah, Niels Zonneveld is just looking so good.
He is. Yeah, no, as I said last week, he looked very good, and he's backed it up very well a week later. So very impressive. Both average 100 there, but it was just on those doubles. He looked very, very sharp. Again, he just a no BS type mentality. He just goes about his business. He doesn't really get too argy-bargy in the crowd. He just gets it done, and I was very proud, actually, very impressed.
Yeah, it was a very strong performance. Yeah, you said no nonsense. It's the Dublin that's probably impressed me more than anything, because you have to take. Sometimes you watch these matches and they feel like those World Series first round matches where it's like, if a PC superstar misses the dart to double, so now you have to take this, and then they don't take it. It's like, well, this leg's going to go against them, and now it's hard to see them winning this match.
Yeah, that's some good doubling.
That's sometimes what these Euro Tour events feel against these top 16 seeds. But Zonneveld hasn't been. Has been taking his opportunities, and he's reaping benefits now because he's in a great position to make the World Match.
He had some good checkouts. He had like a 147,
treble
20, treble 17, double 18, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. If you're doing that against
the best,
that means you're locked in.
He's pretty handy all around the world, Zonneveld, and we should do sort of in the next few weeks. We'll just keep an eye. I know the World Match Play feels like it's a long way away, but it's also the next stage there, and you do have to keep an eye on it, because there's a lot of really good players who are just outside those places, and there are a lot of players you might not expect who's in there. One of those, I said this off air, William O'Connor has not ever played at the World's match play, and which is quite remarkable, actually, because given he's been around for some time, so he's got a great opportunity to pick up a World Match Play debut. He's in a great position at the moment, and looks likely that he will be there for the first time in his career to play the magnificent Winter Garden
Played
Blackpool.
some good stuff over the weekend.
Yes, he's played some very good stuff over the last several months, so he's one to keep an eye on. Unfortunately, we were down one. I couldn't believe this when I saw this and I read what it was about. Gian van Veen
posted the
withdraw.
predictions, and then
the predictions. Yeah, right. And we've got things ready to go. This is great. It's always right after there's going to be some world-shaking news in the world of darts, probably in the world in general, but especially in the world of darts, right after we finish. It's probably something being posted by the ADA or something really important right now
or
as we speak.
Or the Red Bit 180. That's a great page, by the way. Go pick that up.
Yeah, there's probably going to be something really important or something, some stats we could really have used in this episode. It's probably going to, that we're probably not going to have the chance of. So unfortunately, Gian van Veen with kidney stones, which is not fun,
God bless him.
had to withdraw from the Premier League night. But the good news is it is looking likely he'll be in Berlin. That's all.
Looks promising.
It's as confirmed as anything can be without being 100% confirmed. He is looking promising to play Gerwyn Price, which is a strong recovery. Obviously, he didn't play at the Euro Tour at the weekend. So it was the one thing missing from the weekend was Gian van Veen's withdrawal. But hopefully we see him back in the Premier League, because he's had a pretty reasonable start.
He had some comments on the next slide as well. He posted a video, I think, yesterday about him just doing some throwing on the board. So he had a lot of stuff to say. That last line, Berlin, I hope to see you on Thursday. So that's really promising. So these clips are a small glimpse of the process. The fatigue is real. My energy levels are still lower than I hoped. But again, he's just working hard every single day to try and get back up, because he doesn't want to let his fans down, the whole darting world in general down. So
he's not one that generally misses out on those things. So fingers crossed that we will be seeing him on a dart stage once again very soon. Gian van Veen missing the Premier League night in most recently gone in Dublin, but fingers crossed Berlin. We'll see him there tomorrow morning, Australian time. Thursday night there in Europe. I think it's a little bit earlier because it's because of the time zone differences this week for the Premier League. I think that's 5 o'clock Australian, 5 o'clock in the morning Australian time instead of 6 o'clock.
I'll watch it eventually.
Yes, absolutely. I don't have a Volcanzo this week, so I should have placed that on the Blake. This is our frustration once again. Maybe I can attend this. Josh Rock, once again, he shouldn't have been picked. It was a year too early. In hindsight, I would have picked him at the time, but now I think James Wade really could have, or Nathan Aspinall could really have used another go in the Premier League. 6-0 defeat. What was it, like an 83 average?
85, I think it was.
Yeah, it was around there.
Go back. 84.21.
I actually kind of wanted to, having watched a lot of sports shows through the week, I kind of wanted to stand up here and, what they usually do, go up to the board and go, well, here's been the problems. Then we'd be far away from the mic, and I had other things to do. But what I wanted to show, if I had bothered to clip it all up together, was there's a lot of darts going not in the 20 segment, Josh. There are a lot of wayward darts, and that's really putting them away from getting down to sort of manageable finishes or within range. Finishes or fishes.
Fishy.
Yes, well, even just to try and get down to
Great
the
commentary
fish.
on the weekend by that.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, Waymata was great, especially doing the MVG Lettler game.
Oh, that was great.
That made it as good as it was on its own. But Josh Rock losing 6-0 at the weekend, and it's only going to get tougher because he's got Johnny Clayton this week. It just isn't happening. And now, and I hope this isn't the case, but now there's a little bit of a worry that maybe this confidence is seeping over into other things because he did have the defeat to Kim Huybrechts at the Euro Tour, so there was no ranking money picked up there. He's actually about to lose. I was looking at this yesterday. He's actually about to lose a big chunk off his ranking because 2 years ago he won a Euro Tour event, the Dutch Darts Masters, I think 2024 Euro Tour event 7. So he's about to drop down because I was looking. Currently he's like ranked number 7, but on the match play race he was number 10. So I was like, how does that work? Because one of the biggest chunks, it's like the fourth biggest chunk of money he's got on his ranking is about to fall off towards, I think, the end of this month or maybe the early next month. I think it's towards, actually might be close to May. It's probably the end of May. We're still at the end of March. It's hard to tell where we are anymore. Just in the year, time's flying by. So that'll still be for a little while, but that's going to come off eventually. So that's likely going to cause him to now fall behind people like Price and Bunting.
Yeah.
So once again, we're in struggle street at the moment, Josh, and it's hard for me to see him turning it around before. I said night 12 when he plays MVG. Maybe he's got, I think, Stephen Bunting the week before, but looking at his fixtures, it's hard to see where this elusive first win is going to come from.
He says it's all a mentality thing. Like, obviously, we know he is such a world-class operator. That World Cup game was especially...
I'm kind of waiting for... I'm so excited for the World Cup. We got some World Cup news during the week. Yeah, we got
World Cup news very, very soon.
I'm kind of looking forward to that event as we always do, and I do wonder if getting into that environment, being the defending champion, will sort of pump up Josh Rock a little bit, and that might sort of turn him around a little bit. So we'll be interested to see once we're through this Premier League and once we get to Frankfurt, what that's like.
July,
but actually June, I think. Match plays July. The World Cup will be the month before. I think it might be actually a week or two earlier than it was last year. But as for now, that still feels a little bit of a while away. And right now, Josh Rock is currently sinking, and it's hard to see where this lifeline is going to get out of. Who knows? Maybe he wins a bunch of nights in a row and wins the whole thing. But it's not looking likely, is it, Josh?
No, it's not. It's again, I think it's just a mentality thing. Obviously, we know how good he is on the stage. We've seen in the World Cup. We've seen on some Euro Tour events, on some major stages, but for whatever reason, he just cannot get over this mental hurdle, mate. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. Is it just the format? Is it being week by week, having to play the same guys over and over again? I don't know. I really don't know.
I think there is a mix of, like, you're playing the same guys who you've lost to over and over again.
There's a sense mental burden.
I do wonder. Night 1, he played well and lost. And then night 2, he went to wash his hands, got the soap on, and then averaged 80. Yeah. I wonder if the soap is the thing. That's because that's the moment we can pinpoint where, like, whatever is in that Antwerp one might have scared him, and now it's completely thrown him off Thursday nights because that sort of thing. Now, obviously, he's had a few decent performances, hit on 9 darts, played well against Lettler when he lost to him, but it is quite a remarkable thing that this keeps happening, and he keeps playing reasonably well elsewhere now. He lost on the Euro Tour on the weekend. Now, maybe that is probably more likely than not just a blip, but we might see it as part of a bigger trend in a few months' time. We just don't know as of recording right now. But
I'm just looking back on his results. Like, he's being good in patches, but just not being good enough. Yeah, he's standout games were night 1. That was good, even though 6-2 loss, still averaged 100. Clayton was just that much better, averaging 109. Yep. Obviously, night 2 was a stinker in Antwerp. Night 3, where was he? 6-2 loss against Humphreys, again, 97 average, but Humphreys was just too good. Van Veen, night 4, he was under par. Night 5, 6-4. Like, that game against Littler was really good. 103 average, but again, just, I don't know what it is.
Didn't happen.
It was just too good on the doubles.
Yes, so it's a frustrating thing for Rocky at the moment. It's got to play Clayton now, and it's hard to see. until he gets I think Michael, who knows, maybe Michael will be ready to go that night. It's kind of hard to see. He couldn't go 0-16, could he? Can I drop that in there now? Does he go 0-16, Josh? Does he not win a match?
You better not clip this in like June, July, and this happens. I better not.
I think I might be clipping it.
Let's say his next 4 opponents: Clayton. Then he plays Clayton again. Actually,
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what I was saying earlier about this Premier
Price,
League is going to get closely.
Bunting, Littler. Oh, sorry,
Van Gogh.
MG. So those are his next 4 nights. Do you see him winning at all? So
certainly not the first 3.
It.
Maybe Bunting and MVG, but I'm a Stephen Bunting fan, so I lean towards Bunting obviously that much. Which is why I said night 12. And I only mentioned the 0-16 thing, and he probably wins. It's Clayton and ends this thing right now. But we had Glenn Doran speaking about it during the week when he went 0-9, and Mark Webster went on a terrible run about 15 years ago whenever he was last in the Premier League. And of course, the thing with Durrant was that was the last year of the relegation format to be able to get out at halfway at the bottom of the table. Rock is still stuck in this thing for the next 2 months.
What was Glenn Durrant's commentary about it?
Glenn, it was basically just how he knows how it feels, because he was speaking to the Online Darts Live Lounge. He was their guest during the week with Phil Bars, Dan Simpson, and the rest of the team. And it was very sympathetic, I think, to Rock, because he knows, and he was on the other side of it because he won the Premier League the year before, and he was playing some great stuff there. 2019, 2020. He would have been the best player in the world for a little while there, Glenn Durrant, when he came over from the BDO to the PDC. So he sort of he was very sympathetic. He sort of understood what was going on there. So but for Rock, he's just going to have to find a way to get over that. You never know. Maybe you find someone on just a night where they're not performing. It might be this week. It might be the very last night of the Premier League where he can finally get over the line.
Hopefully it's this week.
Yeah. It'd be a great story. Look, last year Bunting hadn't won until we gone into Berlin, and then he won the night. Who knows? But I feel like 0-16 is getting it's getting to the point where we have to maybe make it just hinting at it that there's a real risk of him not winning, going nil point all the way through. Right, we had this was a fascinating and interesting discussion to it. So many players trying to get over to Belgium for the tournament. They're on the European tour, and they're not. And they were struggling to get over there. Johnny Clayton was one. He was struggling to get there. Chris Dobie was another one. I think a lot of the Brexit deals were a big part of this. I might have read Joe Cullen had that sort of thing. And this was just to get to Belgium. This is not the most far-flung place in the world. So the question I have for you, Josh, is
Aspinall
we could see Aspinall was the other one. That's right.
Mainstream media stuff that happened. There's more to it, but there's just
all the mainstream media and also Darts News.
Darts News, yeah. Well, Darts News is more in particular.
Yeah, exactly. So what we could see potentially is players skipping European tours because either they're in the position like the Lokes where it doesn't affect their ranking too much, or it's just too much of a hassle. Now, is that a good thing? Is it a good for because we might see someone like a Niels Zonneveld who we haven't really seen burst his way through, or are fans who are getting their one chance to see PDC darts all year missing out?
Yeah. Well, look. Let's look from a fan's point of view, right? If you're missing your favourite player, then that's shuddering, right? Like, if you're hoping to see Lilla and that's only who you want to see for one game at least, and he doesn't make it, then what? You're not going to be feeling motivated to go to another event because you feel that, all my favourite players that don't really give a crap about these sort of Euro Tour events, they're waiting for, the Worlds and the Match Play and all these other, the UK Open, all these big major events, they don't care. So from a fan's point of view, it sucks, no doubt. But what about from a player's point of view?
Well,
these
from a player's
top echelon players, what do you think about that?
Well, from a player's point of view, it's just whatever is going to give you the less hassle, I think. And if one place is just too difficult to get to, or there's too many chaos in airports, as it is all around the world at the moment, because of various circumstances, then it becomes, I could be there, or I could go to an exhibition down the road and get some guaranteed coin that way. But there's also the other side of, there's the players who are on that reserve list who are getting their opportunity to play on the European European tour on a big stage, potentially against other names that are perhaps a bit more beatable, or big names who have made it over, and they get the chance to play them and prove themselves there. So as of so there's probably different layers to this. There's the fans' point of view, there's a PC point of view, there's a player's point of view, but there's the players who are like right up the top end, and there's the players who would be like next in line. If a player pulls out, you come in on the reserves list. So if you're on the reserves list, you want everybody to fall out, so you can get so you can jump on having not made it through the qualifier. But I would be slightly concerned about this if I was the PT. It's why people don't like the Euro Tour changes. We talked about Alan Suter not liking them last week. But a big thing, and I'm going to maybe bring in an AFL aspect to this as well, as wearing my cat stuff they play tonight.
Good chance.
I feel like a lot of the diehard fans get a little bit frustrated with leagues sometimes with the decisions they make. But if you're running an organisation, you're not so much interested in the 2% of the people watching who are like the hardcore fan base that's gone to every event and has and is interacting with it, is listening to podcasts or recording podcasts.
They'll pay their money.
They're paying their money anyway. You're trying to capture the 98% of your audience that is a little more casual, that might not be there every week. And the main big reason why they made those Euro Tour changes is to make sure that give more incentive for the big guys to show up there, and because they're the ones that is getting attention on the sport. And then if you want to knock them off that position, you have to go up there and beat them, and then things change, as we talked about last week. So with things like the NFL's coming to Melbourne, a lot of Americans didn't like that. AFL potentially finally moving to a 12-leg grand final, or doing things in New South Wales and Queensland. People don't like that, but a big part of that is to try and capture a more casual fan base. The NFL is the biggest money-making machine in sport because it has such a good casual fan base. They might not watch every game, but they'll watch the occasional game throughout the year. Maybe they'll follow if they're from Tennessee, that is my team. If they're in the Tennessee area, they might catch the Titans on occasion, and obviously watch the Super Bowl. They might more be interested in the halftime show than the actual game itself. But that's what's made them so good. So that is the big problem if a lot of the big players don't bother playing the Euro Tours at all. Yes, it's interesting for people like you and me, Josh. We can come in and we can talk about Neil Zonneveld, and we can talk about those lesser names and how excited it is that we're seeing different guys picking up wins and making runs on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evenings at the European Tour. But it makes it less easy to connect to the casual fan as well. And the other thing as well is, if the big names are there, so we talked about this with when Beau Greaves won against Luke Littler at the World Youth Championship. If Luke Littler wasn't there and Beau Greaves made the final, there could have arguably been an asterisk on that spot to say, well, if Luke Littler had bothered to show up, he would have run through that competition. Yeah. But the fact that Beau Greaves beat Littler made that win. Look, most of the time Littler would have beaten Greaves, but the fact that she won that one contest and was able to come through gives an extra sense of legitimacy to her spot playing in that final. She lost to Gian van Veen, as we know, at the Players' Championship finals later in the year. So that's the other aspect to this as well, that it's great for all these players coming through, but do we go, well, you only made it because the Lokes and Stephen and Michael and Van Veen and the rest of them weren't there.
Same with the sort of Pro Tours as well. You have these guys who win the Pro Tours who probably aren't as established and go, oh, well, who did you actually beat? You may have had Littler or Humphreys pull out, but you only played, someone who's in the middle quartile of the order of merit. It's like, well, is it really valid that you
And some of these things are difficult because sometimes you would have played those guys, but other guys knock players out. So you can only beat what's in front of you. True, but there is this extra element that's just thought at the back of your mind going, well, if things had really worked out, would you really have gotten to that title? Sometimes it's frustrating because it's like the player did nothing wrong and we're still trying to put an asterisk. It's the classic argument that you can basically put an asterisk on every trophy in sport ever given if you just find a loopy enough reason. It was COVID, it doesn't count. They played it at this time, so it didn't count. There was a cheating scandal not related to this team, but we have to put a crossover that whole season. There was a bad umpiring decision there, so that doesn't count. There was one team, another team got no, that doesn't count. We just don't like that player, so we're going to asterisk that one. But every so you can deal with a lot of tournaments, but that is the big problem if players start skipping Euro Tours because if they can't get over there, that's worse because now they might not go to the World Series events or those other places, which is where we really want the big names there because that's about growing the game in areas where there's very little Dutch footprint at all. But in the when it comes to playing the European Tour, where there's ranking money at stake, it makes wins more legitimate on there if you are going up and you're at least, even if you're not beating Luke Littler, there adds a legitimacy if he's in the tournament. If he's part of the caliber of players that's in that pool and you've gone further than him in the tournament, I think that will add in for a lot of people's mind legitimacy. Whether it's worthy or not is a separate debate.
That's true. Well said. Well said. You've got someone who,
two
people who keep winning.
These two keep winning. Let me just grab the results in front of me as I talk. But more JDC action over the weekend. And Future Stars once again. Mitch Laurie is already very much a current star. We don't need to. It's everywhere he goes. He won all 4 of the Advanced Tour events over the weekend because, of course, he did. I only was just sort of catching up with this morning. So let me just grab the juniordarts.com and read some of the stuff off here. Laurie goes 4 in a row, published 22nd of March 2026, a 4th straight Advanced Tour event win. As well, there was plenty of different players who were picking up wins. So Laurie was obviously the big name, beat Jack Johnson in the final at event 5. So he won 4 in a row, but there were other names who picked up wins as well. Alfie Cook won event 6, Jane Walker event 7, and Archie Self event 8. So plenty of strong names that if you're familiar with junior darts, you'll recognise those names. But Laurie was the big one, winning 2, 3, 4, and 5 now in a row. And Gibbons enjoyed back-to-back success as well. Macy Gibbons won both girls' senior events in Bristol. 4-1 over Rebecca Allen, 4-2 over Rebecca Allen in back-to-back finals events 3 and 4. So they were the big names. So a bit more distribution on the Advanced Tour side of things, but obviously Mitch Laurie was the big standout as he continues to be, and the JDC off the back of their agreed continued partnership with the BDC are doing great things, and we're beginning to know these guys. Like Mitch Laurie could have done these sort of things that we wouldn't really be knowing about it, but with their links to the PDC, with the fact that they've got a website and it's on Dark Connect, we have access. We have the ability to see that not only these guys are playing very good standard, but that these sort of things are happening as well. Exactly right. Uganda are going to play at the World Cup of Darts,
Maiden
Josh.
tournament.
This is extraordinary stuff. So the African Qualifier happened, but that was even not the most remarkable thing. Peter Achuri and David Munya teamed up for Kenya. There was actually almost all of the pairings were Kenyan. 30 of them. It was ridiculous.
I think 30 were Kenya, 5 from Malawi, and then these were the only 2 that represented Uganda.
None of the Kenyan pairs were able to make it to the final. Munya and Achuri, the number 1 seed, what you would have thought easily they would have won it. Couldn't even win a match, lost first round. But it was the Ugandan pairing that we're going to see at the World Cup. And it was great for the PDC to give Africa a next spot. So South Africa was already there. Yes. So they get a second spot. And Junma Said, Patrick Oching, who's the latter of which in particular has been sort of around that top end of African darts for a little while now, they made it through the qualifier. Quite remarkable stuff.
Very remarkable. We got some results for you through Dark Connect so it was just straight knockout phase. There was no group stage or anything, and those are all the results. 60 to 72, like
decent enough.
Pretty decent enough. I was gonna say pretty competitive, but like just decent enough for this standard at least. So 5-2, 5-2, 6-3, 7-3, and 8-3. So, yeah, some good stuff.
They beat what was in front of them, and so we'll see a Ugandan team at the World Cup of Darts, and be fascinating to see how they go on that big stage. We're probably not necessarily expecting them to get out of their group, but you never know.
Take on England first round.
Maybe they can at least make a few games competitive. Short format with that World Cup format first of all. So maybe we'll see them play some decent stuff on the stage. They've still got a few months to get themselves over there and make any improvements they need to. The women's series occurred there at the legendary Robin Park Leisure Centre in Wigan, a cathedral of darts with all the action that's happened there over the years. Yes. And the great streak, Josh, it came to an end. You will not notice Beau Greaves' names on here because Fallon Sherrock got the job done and ended the, what was it, 114, 115, something like that.
Somewhat
wins
like, yeah.
in a row. She didn't take the 5th Women's Series title, went to Lisa Ashton.
Yes.
Came through a 5-3 win in the final.
On the average, very solid.
And then things went back to the way they should be. Beau Greaves coming through a 5-0 victory of Gemma Hayter, average of 101 after a few averages there in the 80s in event 6. She picked up the event 7 title, 5-4 last league decider over Fallon Sherrock, and then Sullivan made the final and went down 5-1 to Beau Greaves. So Beau Greaves have established a streak again, but the great one has come to an end.
We'll go back to one. We'll go back to 100 again. It's fine.
You'll make it back to 100 soon enough.
Yeah. So some good names in attendance. Deda Hedman, she's one to watch. Gemma Hayter, she's probably in that next sort of second, third rank wise. Rihanna Sullivan, we talked
Should have
about.
brought up the Women's Series order of merit. It's probably on there somewhere.
I've got the rankings in a minute, but yeah, those were.
Okay.
All the events there. So some good stuff, some pretty good averages. And yeah, Beau Greaves, after a little blimp, she continues her dominance.
She went back to the way things were ordered right in women's darts again after that little misfire. Things went back to the way they should be.
Yeah, so there was £2,500 on offer for each event. We've got the rankings
there
after
we
the
go.
weekend there. That's probably what you were after.
Yes,
so
that's exactly what I was after. I forgot you out of this.
£17,500 she's on after the weekend. Ashton, 7.35. Sherrock 4.7, Hayter 4.15, and Rihanna Sullivan £3,350 to round out the 5.
Yep. So there we go. So they're the top 5. They're sort of the World Championship, at least World Championship-ish positions, because you get the 3 that go in, but you've also got the Women's Series, and you've also got to factor in that Beau Greaves might make it in through other means, which might drop a place further down as well.
True.
So we'll keep an eye on all of that, and Women's Series weekend, Beau Greaves continues to be a long way in front as we expected, but the great streak is all over. The streak that's not over, Josh, is a 4-2 result in the weekly final at Modus. It just keeps on giving.
I don't know how it happens.
And Jack Drayton defeated Jamie Lewis. My darts fun fact of the episode. I feel like I should do this every week. Darts fun fact of the episode. Jamie Lewis is the last man that Phil Taylor beat in a professional match. He won Jamie Lewis famously made the world semi-final in 2018 before Phil Taylor beat him 6-1 in sets. That was right before the classic Cross MVG match. And then obviously Cross beat Taylor in his last professional match on the PC side of things.
There you go.
So
Wow.
So Jamie Lewis has
That's
experience playing on the big stage, but it was Jack Drayton who was able to get over the line. This was a very watchable final, 95 average, 40% on the doubles, and a 180 in there as well.
Yeah, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. So he is the 9th person to Champions Week. We go to week 10 now. It's coming along quick. Jeez.
They're coming through thick
it
and
comes
fast.
very, very quick.
And some interesting names here.
Yes, Richie Howson.
Jesus Salate from Argentina as a World Cup and World Championship competitor has made his way to Modus. Devin Peterson.
He's one to watch as well. Graham Jenkins, Johnny Barnes, he's good. Jazz Barstow, there's some good names there. And Brian Rahman was they put a new graphic up there. So I'm like,
that's
why
nice.
not? It's
that's
pretty nice.
nice.
It's why not? So I'm like, put
Brian
it up there.
Rahman's quality.
I like how it's like the left to right. I'm like, let's do it. So he won Group A, 11-4 record, 22 points. And he had a very solid 3 days. So he will be the first name into Champions Week. And we have the updated winners after week 9. Steve Green, Kunu van Velzen, Radek Zazan. I can't say his name right.
Radek Zidansky.
Sorry. Derek Coulson, could he lift that title? Graham Hall, Scott Taylor, Neil Duff, Nathan Potter, and now Jack Drayton with 3 weeks of action to go.
You better hope, Josh, that Mongolian who's currently positioned in the World Championships off the Asian Tour, who has there is almost all the letters in the alphabet are in his first and last name. He better not make it to the World Championship. I want to hear Rowan Biggs pronounce his name on a big stage. Anyway,
now, the real
darts down under, the proper darts, Josh, as they say, proper darts. That's the darting version of a spirit of the game in cricket. It's a term that nobody understands and nobody's able to properly define. This is proper darts, 51 average, Josh, 6-0 over Sammy.
Yes, yeah. Biggest thing was the highest finish, 116, so that was pretty cool. I think it was treble 2016 tops, which I like going tops. So, yeah, some decent stuff. Pretty solid at the office. And, yeah, he had his chance at doubles. He had 20 darts at a double, just could not find it, and I was decent enough, 6 out of 17. So, That was
ton 40 in there. This is
decent. Ton 40 in
Josh's
there.
down. If you haven't clocked, or maybe listened to this for the first time.
Yes.
It's the Darts Down Under Division 2. Josh's local
live league.
a live league on there on Dart Counter.
Yes.
And right now we're sort of in the
table.
middle of the pack after sort of languishing
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Well, this hasn't been updated, so you actually add 1 win. So I'm actually now 4-1-5. So
Okay.
I'd probably be
1 draw.
Yeah,
Best of
one
10.
draw as well for best of 10 the competition. So I've probably gone up maybe a couple places. Not sure. We'll find out when that gets updated.
If that's been if I'm right, that's updated. Your leg difference will now go to -1. That's big for your leg
it
difference
is. It'll
as
be
well.
-1, which is huge. That is very, very
That
important.
gets you a little bit closer. Used to everyone up the top end there has plenty of positive leg difference, but that at least gets you a little bit closer.
Still got some work to do, that's
Yep,
for sure.
absolutely.
Just got to keep winning like Johnny Clayton. Just go on this massive run. And that's obviously outdated as well.
But a 49 3-dot average over the tournament and a couple of 180s with the best check out of now 116.
It'll be
Or did you have
116.
one?
Again, that hasn't been updated,
Yeah.
so that'll probably
I couldn't remember if you had a high
be
one.
up and around 50 now. So week 11, I play.
Well done.
Not verse. I play. Ricky Morton.
He's using his verbs right,
Oh,
ladies
who
and
would've
gentlemen.
thought?
He's using his doing words right. Let's give a round of applause for Josh Deeney. Well done.
And he's
Speaking proper English. That's what we like on this show.
He's third on the table if you go back. So he's got a 7-1-2 record. So I've got a tough assignment ahead of me tomorrow. Or Saturday, actually, I think we're playing. So that'll be good fun as always.
It's Ricky
And
Morton.
We go to night 8 in Berlin.
All right, we should make some predictions. I haven't given
I've already
these a
got mine
ton of
somewhere.
thought, Josh, to be fair. I don't know if that's come across during the podcast.
I've got
First
mine somewhere.
match
Here we
of
go.
the night at the Uber Arena.
Uber
It
Eats.
doesn't quite roll off the tongue as much as the
No.
Mercedes-Benz, which was its old name. First match, Johnny Clayton against Josh Rock. What happens here, Josh? Endless possibilities.
There are.
Well, there is it. There's all. It could go 6-0 to 6-5 one way or 6-0 6-5 the other way. That's exactly 12 options.
There's all possibilities.
So in terms of
Can't
just
draw,
end results,
so-
no draws here.
Unlike 2020, 2019
Yeah,
era.
unlike the old format, the pre-2022 formats.
Yep.
We need a winner, and
Yes.
I think it's going to be Johnny Clayton. I know
Yep.
I'm really going crazy here,
Boring.
but I just
Crazy
see Josh
stuff.
Rock being outplayed once again. I'm afraid I'm
Mm.
going to go 6-2. I was
6-2?
leaning between like a few options there, but 2 was the first one that came to mind.
I've
So
already
I'm
done
going to
mine.
6-2.
6-1 for me.
All
in
right.
Clayton's
All
favour.
right. Luke Humphreys, Michael Van Gerwen. I've been saying for weeks like Humphreys is primed to get like a big performance in the Premier League, so this might be the one. Humphreys 6-3 against Van Gerwen.
Humphrey 6-4. I've gotten.
Luke Littler against Stephen Bunting. As I said earlier, I do feel like that Bunting needs to get one of these wins. These play 3 matches here in a quick succession against Littler in the quarterfinals. He's probably going to have to win one of those. But we might wait until we give him the birthday wish, maybe. Littler 6-3 last time they played? I think I think we're a little bit closer to 6-4. I'm saying 6-4 Littler.
Okay. I've gotten Littler 6-3. I know we're pretty even on this one, but
And
just
what would be even here? Gerwyn Price, Gian van Veen. Van Veen makes a comeback. I was tempted, if we didn't know that Van Veen was actually going to play, I was tempted to whisper in potential walkover on here. But, well, I'm hoping Van Veen is up and raring to go. You do feel like that there is going to be, if he does come back,
up
you
and
feel
about?
like he might just be a little bit fatigued. He might just not be ready just this week. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time, he'll be back to his raring best. 6-2 Price.
I've gone 4 Price.
Okay, so
actually.
we're in agreements there, but are we in agreements with who gets to the end, Josh? You've clearly got your stuff in front of you, so why don't you go first? Who
Okay.
wins the 8th night of the Premier League?
Yeah, well, it'll be Clayton v Humphreys. So I've got Humphreys in the final. And then in the bottom there, I've got Price in the final. So Price will beat Littler. So Humphreys v Price. Humphreys will win the night after his heroics, the Belgian Darts Open, and he'll win. Let's go 6-4.
All right, we're very, very similar. Humphreys making it through. I'm going to have Littler continue getting over Price. I
Okay.
think we'll have to wait a little bit longer. Price will eventually get over this hurdle, but not yet. And I also liked Humphreys to win the night. It just feels like he's primed to get there. What did you have? 6-4?
I had 6-4. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going
same?
6-3
6-3.
to Humphreys over Luke Littler to win night 8 in
Okay.
Berlin.
Beautiful.
The actual next week's it's actually got a few interesting things, but the Challenge Tour is back this week. Now, last week, Josh repeated the Luke Littler cross match that I mentioned a year ago. Littler hit a 9-darter and was able to win plenty of double 10 and double 5 action in this match. But Littler won his first European Tour event.
Haven't gotten this one. Yeah, new one. So I've redeemed myself this week. I'm like, I'm not happy with what I did last week.
I couldn't work out who this player who has never featured on the Classic.
I had to triple check that it wasn't on the rundown from last year. So we have Littler versus the Deck in the 2025 Belgian Darts Open Final First 8 legs. And Dedeker this time, he was in form coming into this tournament.
Yeah,
he was good. He had a great tournament. Quality contest. Littler off to a 3-1 start.
He was trying to prove. He just missed out on the Premier League, and he was trying to prove himself.
Yeah, and then he had a bit of a wayward start from 3-1 to that next sort of 4 legs. But then he does come back, and he closes on victory, although Littler was 1 leg away. Does he come back, or does Littler seal the deal? Find out next week.
We're available as an audio only. That'll be out as soon as possible. No promises on anything these days, because whenever I promise something, it sort of goes up in flames. But please do make sure that you've notified yourself for when we release an episode. And that concludes it, Josh. A shorter one compared to some of our more recent editions, which is pretty good. But we got through quite a bit. I feel like next week, though, is going to be interesting with a lot of things to look forward to, with events like the Asian Tour coming back and that sort of thing. So another good episode. I still can't believe Luke Littler won from 5-0 down. He did the reverse sweep, which is what the Americans call it when you come from 3-0 down to win a best of 7 series 4-3.
NBA,
in the NBA, the NHL, or the MLB, the reverse sweep.
Cavs versus Warriors, that happened, didn't it?
That was from 3-1. That was 3-1.
The
The famous 3-0 down was the Red Sox beating the Yankees and then going in the ALCS and then going to win the World Series and breaking the 86-year curse back in 04.
Has it ever happened in the NBA?
It has never happened in the NBA. It's happened plenty times in the NHL. It's happened once in the MLB. It's never happened in the NBA, coming from 3-0 down.
That Cavs Warriors series was unreal. Was it 2016?
That was 2016. That was 3-1 down. But that was in my mind when Littler went from 5-0 down to winning 6-5. The old reverse sweep, or the reverse whitewash, I guess we'd call it in darts. He didn't. He lost all those legs at the start and then came back and won the other way. So it was quite one of the. It was still quite remarkable, because I thought I was going to come in being so happy about Gerwyn Price, and then he let us down right at the end.
Can't believe it.
He might, if they win, which they probably will, they have the opportunity to do battle again in the semi-final this week in Berlin. They're favoured to win their quarterfinals, so we may very well see that match up again this week.
We could. Hopefully rock and whitewash.
Like I said, well, that would be quite the turn of form.
6-0, win the night.
That would be something extraordinary.
Over here. Good show.
Pro Tour is coming back as well during the next week, so we'll have plenty to talk about there. I'm sure there will be plenty of crazy moments, as there always are, from the floor.
Maybe 9, we'll find out.
We will. There's a great chance there'll be a 9 somewhere along the way. On a string board or not, maybe, but maybe we'll
Adam
get
Lake,
something
hopefully.
there. Hopefully we see a few more Adam
Lake gets on a board,
There's
man.
also
Very last thing. Oh, my God. Please, PDC. We are pleading.
For you to give us any vision.
Something.
The other thing I was going to say is there's Eurotour qualifiers as well. So it'd be great to see someone like Anna Lake or Beau Greaves can get onto and qualify for I think the 5th and 6th Eurotour qualifiers are coming up as well. So there'll be plenty to dissect and plenty to look forward to in the next edition. Thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And like already mentioned, follow us on social media platforms. This has been the 9-Dart Podcast.
Very good. Me too. I'm praying. Good? Great.